How dare you? No, really, how dare you? Whose bright idea was it? Go, oh yeah, let's do a modern telling much of nothing. Let's steal none of the plot except for this little bit of the A plot. Oh, we'll call it an adaptation, but then also let's say some lines because we're clever. And then whenever we do a line, our characters had made them up because they're that amazing. Shut up.
Cool.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Flip the Scripts, an adaptation podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Nyman.
And I'm the other host, Ankit Madeira.
And this week we are continuing Much Ado About Nothing, I wish. We are continuing Anyone But You, a Sydney Sweeny adaptation of Much Ado About Nothing. I should digress. Sydney Sweeny is just the main person playing in the film. She is not the writer nor the director. I do not give her any ownership of this film. She can take ownership as an actor, but like all the complaints are from the writing standpoint and the directing standpoint.
Yeah, I don't think we have any complaints really as anyone in terms of being an actor. They're doing their jobs.
They're trying. A lot of them, this is a paycheck. I could totally see. Half of them were like, read the script, I was thinking, like, yeah, paycheck is paycheck.
Yeah. And as an actor, totally understand. Like, not every project you're gonna do is incredible.
All right.
But sometimes you're just like, I could use that paycheck.
So, we left off with the adaptation. But before that, we always do, because this is the second episode before, this is the second episode of the parts. I always have a question for Ankit, so fun question time. So, Ankit, what Shakespearean play would you like to see adapted properly into a film? A modern film. It could be using Shakespearean language or not, but it has to be you want to see it adapted properly.
Do I get to be in it?
Sure. In this imaginary world. Yeah.
Sweet. Then Comedy of Errors.
Oh, that'd be really fun on film. I
Yeah.
feel like a Comedy of Errors has happened on film, like not like a clear adaptation,
Not recently.
like a loose one.
Yeah.
Comedy of Errors would be good. That is
Comedy
fun.
of Errors.
With the twins and everything, that is.
Because you get one actor to play all the twins.
Well, no. It's
Like,
two sets of twins.
Right, but both sets of twins, you have one actor playing two different parts.
Yeah. Two people. It
Two
is
people.
fun. That would work. I would really love.
And I know you didn't ask, but I'd like to be the servant twin.
I know you. I know you. Yeah.
I don't need to be the prince. No.
I'd really love to see a modern adaptation of The Tempest.
Oh.
Because I really love The Tempest. I love the etherealness of being trapped on an island, and I think it has such an interesting comedic yet dark story. It'd be really fun to see how a modern adaptation could be done. There was a film version of it like not too long ago, but it was just basically a Shakespearean play on film. But I'd really love to see like a modern take on The Tempest and how that's done.
Completely fair.
Caliban could be an interesting modern character.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I would be in it, because my question was not based on that. But I'm glad that you cast yourself in your adaptation of Comedy of Errors.
Yeah, I'm gonna cast myself in anything that I'm doing.
Yeah. So we are back with the adaptation, everyone. As we said last time, it was a very poor half of the play. The only thing that was like loosely correct so far in the adaptation is that the only thing that I'll give it credit for is the fact they've tried to convince Benedick that Beatrice loves him and Beatrice that Benedick loves.
Wait, can I give them one more thing?
Ben and B, sorry, not Benedick Beatrice.
Yeah. Can I give them one more thing?
Yeah.
There is a wedding.
Oh, yeah, that's also like okay, cool. Between Claudio and Helly, not Claudio and Hero.
Right, but like they're meant to be the same people. So like they got the right people that are supposed to be married getting married.
Yeah. So we're back and now we have Jonathan. And
he's here.
B decides to play giant chess with Jonathan, and I'm like, I actually really love giant chess. My friend and I back in the day, I was my friend Alec. We were friends in middle school and high school for a bit. We've just two different paths in high school.
Fair enough.
We went on this trip to Scottsdale, and they had this giant chess set. and we replaced the kings with ourselves, because then we wanted to relive Harry Potter.
Yeah, but here's the problem with that, Stephen.
What?
Is that then you would have to move every time to move your piece?
Oh, that was fine. Then we went back to the spot we were at.
Oh, okay, fine. All right.
It would be cool to have, like,
Also,
obviously, in Harry Potter, Ron didn't need to move the pieces. He could just stand as the knight and be like,
yeah,
you there,
Stephen,
D4.
why don't you have magic?
Because I don't. And I'm sad.
Muggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, my wand collection is great, though. I mean, wow. Like,
Muggles. And their collections. Anyway, we forgot to, I don't know if we talked about it in the last episode, of them actually meeting Jonathan.
Oh, we did. Jonathan shows up at, like, parents bring him, and he meets them before the hike.
Yeah, he meets them before the hike, but one thing that's made clear in that conversation that I don't think we hit on was that Jonathan asked very clearly to the parents, does B know I'm coming? And the parents lied to him. So Jonathan also feels uncomfortable being here.
Yeah, Jonathan's a victim of circumstance.
Yes, I would just like to make that clear.
I would also like
before we continue for the rest of this movie.
I would also like to point out that Jonathan doesn't exist in Much Ado About Nothing. I really tried.
No, he doesn't.
So if Beau is Borachio, which actually makes a lot of sense, because Borachio and Margaret do end up with each other, but then Jonathan and Margaret end up at each other at the end of the film. Just spoiler alert. So I thought maybe Jonathan was Borachio and then Beau is Conrad. Just trying to find who is who.
I think that could work.
So Jonathan's Borachio. I've decided Jonathan is Borachio, who is the servant of Prince John, who is the brother of Prince. Wow, why am I forgetting the main prince's name?
I don't know. You're the Shakespeare guy.
I just read it. I mean, like, literally. I mean, I've also directed it. Like, it's
the main prince is Don Pedro.
Yeah, Don Pedro. There we go. Yeah, it's Don John and Don Pedro. That's right. So Don Pedro obviously is he's also the priest, so all wrapped in one. And then Don John.
I thought Robert is supposed to be the priest. Because spoiler alert, that's what he does at the end.
No, I thought Robert was also supposed to be Leonato's brother. Or is that his wife is now his wife instead of his brother? And they're like making that. Okay.
No, I think it's supposed to be that it's supposed to be the brother, but then they've made it a wife and husband instead of two brothers.
Because Leonato has a brother in the play.
Well, he doesn't have a brother here, but he does have a wife.
What is the name of Leo's wife in the movie?
In the movie? Give me a second. I gotta figure that out.
If it's Antonia, then I think we've knocked on something.
Miranda, Skylar, Pete, Claudia, Hallie. Who's Innie?
Innie?
Innie.
Is it like I-N-N-Y?
I-N-N-I-E. Who's Innie? Is Innie the mom?
Rachel Griffiths as Innie.
Is Innie the mom?
I don't know. I guess Innie is the mom.
I think Innie is the mom.
Yeah. So I guess my whole Innie doesn't exist. There's no actually, Leonardo talks about Beatrice's dead wife. There's a line in the play. Isolde, or it starts with an I, so it is connected. So yeah, that does make sense. And then, what is the name of Roger's wife in the play then? Skylar?
No, that's wrong too. I think Roger's wife is Carol.
I don't know anymore. Okay. So Ben sees Jonathan and Sydney Sweeny be playing chess, and he's like, "Oh, I'm a little jealous." You can tell he's jealous of that.
Yeah.
Because he's like, "Oh, they shouldn't be doing that." Where I'm like, "Well, then just go talk to her. Just don't play this Love Rhombus. Just go tell her you love her. Like, done."
That's not how a rom-com works.
Well, maybe if they followed the story of Much Ado, we could have actually had a better romance plot.
Probably, but we've left the plot of Much Ado behind, and now we're just in rom-com territory.
Yeah, then
that's not how a rom-com works.
Then he goes to go share a coffee cup with Margaret, and Margaret's like, "This is great coffee," and he's like, "Oh," and it is great coffee. It's like this coffee is like apparently like crack. Like this coffee is crazy.
And he knows from experience.
I thought that was the stupidest line. Now we get into this, the more of the love rhombus. That's what I'm going to call it, the love rhombus, because Benedick loves Margaret, and Sydney doesn't love Jonathan, but Jonathan.
Okay. You gotta pick which names you're using.
Sorry,
you just said Benedick, Margaret, Sydney, and Jonathan.
Okay. Ben loves Margaret, and Margaret loves Beau, but Beau loves surfing more than he loves Margaret, and Jonathan loves B, and B doesn't love nobody.
No, B secretly loves Ben, but doesn't know that she loves Ben yet, or can't come to terms with her feelings for Ben yet. She knows she doesn't love Jonathan. Margaret doesn't actually like Beau, she just enjoys sleeping with Beau.
And then she also secretly likes Ben.
She secretly is still in love with Ben.
Yeah. Which, okay. The love, if you want to do a love rhombus, it ain't
a rhombus. We just added 5 people.
Okay, love.
And you added surfing, so that's a 6.
All right, love hexagon.
But surfing doesn't connect to any other points.
Okay, love pentagon.
It's not a closed shape.
Pentagon.
No, but that still doesn't work because Beau is still only connected to Margaret and surfing, and if surfing can't be connected, then Beau isn't connected and is still an open shape.
Fine. Love rhombus with an extra attachment with a panhandle.
I'll take it.
A panhandle rhombus. But if you want to do a rhombus, there's another Shakespeare comedy with a perfect love rhombus. It's called Midsummer Night's Dream. And Ankit and I know that very well because I've directed Ankit in A Midsummer Night's Dream.
I played a fairy.
Ankit did play a fairy. He
and
also
a woman.
He played Flute, who becomes a woman in the play.
Played a woman.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
His boob popped.
Not every time. That did happen one day.
Not every time. I wanted to.
Some nights.
I feel like we tried.
It was a situation where it happened in rehearsal one time.
It was hilarious.
And it was great. And so you were like, can you do this every time? And I was like, I will try. But then it just wouldn't, I was doing the same thing and it just wouldn't pop. And then I think we went in and it popped opening night.
It was hilarious.
And so then we just went, okay, so this is just going to be a fun thing. It may or may not pop.
I remember one fell out in the third show, and I think Charlie stepped on it while you're dead, and it popped. And you went, oh!
Yeah, it was a good time.
That was a great time. For context, everyone, I directed A Midsummer Night's Dream with 14 people in the summer of 2022. The summer the Queen of England died.
It was my first professional gig.
I paid everyone. I did pay all my lovely actor performers. Just a little bit. It wasn't a lot, but I gave them something.
It was enough.
It was really nice. It was really fun. I paid everyone, and we worked really hard. We did the play over 3 weeks. We did 2.5 weeks of basically rehearsal.
Half a week of tech and then opening.
Yeah, and it was crazy and fun. And we did it at what was the playhouse we did it at?
Bread and Roses Theater.
Bread and Roses Theater, yeah. It was really cool. We got a lot of good houses, a lot of good reviews, a lot of good people really enjoyed the show. And it was really funny. Ankit was unsure if he was going to audition. We had talked about it leading up to it. I think I was doing we hung out that whole summer. We were we played Harry Potter that summer. I did his whole your music video. That was over the summer.
We did a whole lot that summer. We did everything together that summer.
Finding a place to live.
We helped each other move that summer, everything.
Well, yeah, because you moved to New Cross.
That's the summer that I moved down to New Cross.
And I moved because I had to move out of 3 New Piece, you remember? I moved
to the new place.
I moved to you. I lived with a week with you.
Oh yeah, you lived with us when we were doing the show, and then you moved back to North
because they wouldn't let me cross over for a week at 90 White Hills.
It was more than a week. It was like 2 weeks that you were at our place.
Well, a week and a half.
Something like that. Oh, and no, it was... You stayed 2 weeks because you got the new place during Tech Week, so you just moved after Tech. You moved after our show because you just didn't want to move during Tech Week, which made complete sense.
Yeah, it was great. And also, Calvin was out of town, so I had his bedroom.
Yeah.
So, sorry, getting back to this movie. I love talking history.
It is a film, Stephen. According to Wikipedia, it is a film.
I don't care what Wikipedia says. It's not a source anymore.
Wikipedia takes offense to this. It might not be a reliable source, but do not say that it is not a source, my friend.
I don't take Wikipedia with a grain of salt. So, Ben is like, now we have this Love Rhombus with a panhandle. But like I said, they could have just done Midsummer Night's Dream, and they got the same kind of thing. Then we got to a weird dancing scene, and like everyone's dancing and stuff, and it's like they're partying, and I literally at this point I was like, when is this movie gonna end?
At this point I was like, wow, we're really pushing this 1 hour 45-minute runtime.
Yeah. Then they're on a boat. Oh, I forgot to say, they're dancing on a boat. I apologize. They all go to a boat because they want to go on a boat on the river that's in Australia.
No, I think this is supposed to be the rehearsal dinner.
Yeah, but there's no food.
None?
I didn't see food in the boat scene, did you? I saw alcohol, no food.
I saw a good amount of alcohol.
Yeah. So then they go to the front of the boat to try to make the other two jealous, because the plan is to, like, if we see ourselves as a situationship, it's a very American thing. I hate situationships. Don't do it, anybody. But
they're dumb.
They're dumb. Just go out with someone. But like
have a bloody conversation.
They want to be in a situationship, so that way the one person will be like, she's taken. Well, Margaret's gonna be like, I can still get in that and stop that and have Ben, and Ben can have me. And I'm going like, you took in a plot point that was really simple in the play, and you convoluted it to such an extreme that no one believes it. Okay. Then they do
they Titanic each other.
Yeah, they Titanic each other, and I was
and not the part where it's Rose forces Jack to stay in the frigid cold water. No. It's the I'm the king of the world one.
Yeah. It's the
Also, have never seen Titanic.
That'll be a really long post finale.
I probably won't do it for post finale though, because I know the movie and I know how it ends.
You just know the references. You don't know the movie.
I know. I actually don't know much about like the scenes, but like I know all the big plot points to where I know how that movie ends.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it would be interesting for me to ever do on post finale. But ladies and gentlemen, if you want to hear me do that, let me know. I know that this is a different show. Back to this one. Anyone but you. What are we doing, Stephen? We're on a boat.
Jonathan and Margaret are both jealous, and they're like, we want that. And they ain't getting that. And then B falls overboard, and Ben jumps after her, and he's like, I'll save you. And
I will say, the moment he jumped, my mom goes, he can't swim.
That was a plot point.
My mom was like, that was a major point. Like, he can't swim. What's he gonna do?
Also, the thing is, like, she's like, oh my god, we gotta get out of here. We get hypothermia. He's like, the water's 90 degrees. And she's like, what about sharks? She's like, well, those might exist. And I'm like, whoa, what? Where in Australia are they?
The harbor.
I don't think there's sharks near the harbor in Australia.
I've never been to Australia.
I wouldn't know.
I am not going to claim like I know anything about Australia. But Australians, I'm going to go on a limb and say you don't have sharks in Sydney Harbor normally?
They feel like they can't swim to the boat because they can't make it. So they decide to swim to a buoy. And then the people on the boat are like, we have to turn the boat around. We have to go rescue them. And the people are like, we can't turn the boat around. The water's too shallow. And my brain froze for a second. I paused the movie, turned to my dad, and went, if the water is too shallow, how do they get the boat back? How do they get the boat? How do they loop the boat fully around to get it back to the harbor?
You have to go further out into deeper water to turn around and then come back.
That's fine. They could have literally just said that instead of, oh, the water's too shallow, we can't turn around.
I do. Even if they said we can't turn around here,
that would have been fine.
That would have been fine, but they didn't. They said the water's too shallow, we can't. Then go forward to where it's not too shallow to turn around. Because, again, I am not someone who is a boat aficionado. No. I do not claim to know a lot about boats. Maybe you legitimately can't turn the boat in, like, too shallow of water. I've been canoeing a lot, and, like, I get what they mean, right? Like, sometimes it's like, hey, like, yes, you can be floating on it, but if you're trying to make a turn, you're going to hit the bottom. Fine. Like, sure. Just say we can't turn around here.
Yeah. Then they're on the buoy together, and they're alone. And, you know, they're wet and tired, breathing hard and heavy, and they're hoping somebody's going to come rescue them. But then they decide to be honest with
I do appreciate that one.
They decide to be honest with each other. So she's like, yeah, I broke off with Jonathan because we never argue. And he's like, what? That sounds like the perfect relationship. And she's like, no, there was no spark. He's too comfortable. And I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. There was a line earlier on the boat scene where he's like, oh, Jonathan's like her brother then? You want her to marry her brother? She doesn't want to marry her brother. Like, yeah. Roger says that, and I was like, that's actual facts, though.
Like, Roger out here, like, say what you will about Roger Shakespearean trying to put a Shakespeare quote into a play thingy. The man attempted. Did not go well.
No.
But say what you want. He'd be spitting some facts.
Yeah, so she also admits that she quit law school because she just doesn't know what she wants to do anymore. And I'm like, wow. That's hard. That's a hard part of life. I get that.
Rough.
I feel that. They apologize for everything that happened. They're truthful to each other. And they get rescued and they fall in love. Yeah.
Now, about the rescue bit, because I think you'll find this funny. I didn't pick up what the helicopter people said. And I go, did they just tell them to get off the buoy? And my dad next to me just goes, why in the world would they tell them to get off the buoy? That's what the buoy is for. Go back into the freezing cold water so that we can rescue you. And I'm just like, I didn't think about this, Dad. But, like, yeah.
They took it off the buoy, but that'd be hilarious if they did. So they dropped the rope, the ladder. And apparently Ben is afraid of flying, which is a new plot point introduced here.
But it does tie into what we saw, and it does explain a little bit of maybe why he didn't feel anything in airplane simulated awkward positioning.
I have a complaint about this, though, because he got on the plane completely okay, saw her, went over to her, offered her a cookie, had that whole scene on the plane. If he truly had airplane anxiety, he'd be in his seat not worried about where she is.
Yeah, but she's a hot girl who left him. And he's in love with her.
That's not going to stop your airplane anxiety. I'm sorry.
No, but his airplane anxiety ain't that bad.
That is not bad?
No, it's bad. But it's not that bad to where if he sees a hot girl who he knows that he's about to spend a weekend with, and they have a past, he's going to go talk to her.
So they take him up, and then B realizes why he listens to that song in the airplane, you know, the one that calmed him down. She starts singing it to him. And at this point, you know, I'm sorry, Sydney Sweeny. You can't be in a musical. I apologize. Please do not.
Okay. Here's what I will say. And I want her to cut her slack on this. And I do not judge her for the singing in this scene. I judge her later for her singing. But I don't judge her for singing in this scene.
Because she's wet and tired from swimming?
Because she is wet, tired, and during this scene actively being lifted by a helicopter. So there's so much chaos happening that I cut her slack for not singing well in this scene.
So my dad made a joke, and I laughed so hard when he said this. My dad said, I just could imagine being in the helicopter going, what? They're singing, cut the line! And just the line gets cut.
I had a similar thought when she started singing, though. If I was in there and I could hear them just be like, do we really need to save them?
So it's also weird because Ben's afraid of flying. He's supposed to be a soldier. I mean, if you just kept that, Benedick de Padua is a proud soldier fighting the good fight.
Stephen, he can be a soldier and still be afraid of flying.
Sure. I just don't.
It's possible. Have you ever heard of soldiers who, I don't know, foot soldiers, tank soldiers?
No. I'm not complaining
like that.
I'm complaining the fact that it feels like it was a terrible choice. I just don't like it.
Okay.
I feel like it was made a choice so they could sing the song.
Sure. Yeah.
So then he makes her another grilled cheese. They get back to the house, and they're one of the Australian guys, because they get back, dropped off. He's like, "Don't jump in again." And I really wanted to hear them say, "I'm sorry," and I'm about to cuss again. Fucking yank. Because in the UK, I'm sure Ankit can attest to this. Many times, yank is used. I mean, in Australia as well, because they have very colloquialisms. Yank is used as a derogatory term for Americans when we go overseas.
Yeah, I don't normally get hit with that one.
I used to at the pub all the time.
Fair.
Well, I worked in pubs. I mean,
I
worked
did too.
Kind of.
I worked events.
Events. I worked in pubs. Think of the Holly Bush on a good Saturday night.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah. So then they fall in love and they leave the grilled cheeses alone so they can have sex scene time.
Yeah.
Then they have a few huge sex scene, and that's where
it's
we're going to
montage.
That's where the montage of sex, and that's how we're going to have our snack break, everyone.
We'll be back soon.
What's up, everyone? I hope you're enjoying the snack break. Are you enjoying Anyone But You? Did you like the movie? Have you seen the movie? Did you like Much Ado About Nothing? Have you read it? Have you seen it? What's your experience? Put your comments in the comment section down below. If you want to support us, please like and subscribe or follow us on any of our social medias at youtube.com/coopforge and our various channels such as on Spotify and Apple, where all the podcasts are held. If you want to support us and you want to see Ankit and I suffer, you can go on YouTube and subscribe to us. If we get to 100 subscribers by the end of 2025, we will be forced to do the Twilight franchise, which Ankit and I are dreading. So if you want to see us suffer, please like and subscribe. If you want to support us monetarily, support our editor, support all of the elements that make us able to do the show, you can support us on Patreon. The Patreon link is in the description down below. If you want to support Ankit outside of Flip the Scripts, Ankit is doing Oliver in Seattle. And you can find out more information by following us on social media. Thank you so much for watching. Now, back to our usual program.
So here we are. We have
back from the montage of sex.
Back from the montage of sex, and we have 20 minutes left of this movie. I know, because I paused to hear it to go, how long is this movie when is it gonna end? I was dying. My dad was still with me at this point, by the way. He still has not left. But I really wanted to know when this movie was going to end.
20 minutes, Steven. 20 minutes.
Then, after they've had the things, and it's now later, he leaves. He just gets up and leaves. And I go, why? So you can have more conflict? So the movie can have 20 more minutes?
Yeah.
That's literally what they're doing.
It's literally it. Literally, all he had to do was whisper, "I'll see you tomorrow."
It was dumb.
Because, like,
cut to the next
literally,
day.
If it was just that, then it's just, hi, we don't want the entire family who has just come back home to find us both naked in bed with each other. So I'm going to sneak out so that they don't find us both naked in bed with each other.
Yeah. Cut to the next day, and they're getting ready for the wedding. So it's the wedding day. This is my other thing. My dad said, I thought they were only going to be there for a weekend. This feels way longer than 1 week.
It feels like at least a long weekend.
A long week. They could have changed it to a week.
Well, let's see. You got the day
they arrived.
The day they arrived.
The night thing they did that night.
The day that they went to the boat.
Hike.
No, the day that they went to the boat. Then the day that they went to the hike. Those felt like 2 different days to me.
So it feels like 4 days.
And then they have their rehearsal dinner day. And then they have a wedding day. So we're on day 5.
Which is not a weekend.
It's a week.
Yeah, but in the movie they say a weekend getaway to Australia.
There's a week.
I would have been fine if they said a week. Let's say a weekend.
We would have had no complaints.
But they made the mistake.
And it's our job to point those out.
Yes. So everyone's getting ready for the wedding day. Ben and Pete go get the flowers and the bouquets and everything. While B and Margaret are in charge of getting the cake. And I was like, oh, this is going to turn out real good. This is the... So cut to Pete and Ben talking about Ben and B. And Pete's like, dude, you love her. Just knock it off and get in that. And Ben's like, what? No, I don't love her. And he's like, nah, you do. And
I appreciate Pete just going, you jumped off a boat for her. Shut up.
I see. It's at these moments where, like, I'm okay with the actor playing the role, but not all the time. I just don't like the character. I just don't like Pete. I think he's too... I don't know. I just didn't like...
I think it's just not a well thought out character in terms of the writing.
That's it. He's not 3-dimensional enough. He's very 2-dimensional.
Yeah.
Everyone in this movie is 2-dimensional. Except for Ben and B.
They have layers like onions.
No. Cut to Margaret. And B talking about the pageantry, about weddings and everything, and Margaret never wants to get married. And then B gives Margaret permission to go for Ben. And Margaret's like, yeah, I'm going to go for Ben. And I'm like, oh, good job, B. Because,
way to go. More conflict.
Because we need permission to love people, I guess. Then B goes back to the house, and her parents are like, you quit law school? And everyone found out that she quit law school because Pete is the biggest blabbermouth in the world.
Yeah, dude, Pete, what the hell, man?
So Ben told Pete. Pete tells everyone else.
I like how they started listing off all the things, and he's like, no. Oh, yeah, I need that.
So there's a huge fight, and B is honest. And then Dog is like, why is this fight going on? He goes to go take because the cake lands on his toy, and the dog takes the toy, and the cake goes whoosh, falls, and then everyone blames Ben and B for the cake being destroyed. It's not their fault. I'll give them credit. They have ruined this week, but it is not their fault this time.
No, this is the dog.
It was the one who trained them to chase them.
Who is Claudia and Pete?
Who's Pete and Claudia. But Claudia blames Ben and B for the cake.
Right, of course, because it can't be her fault.
No, but it could be Pete's fault.
Of course it's Pete's fault. Did you not watch the movie? It is Pete's fault.
But
no, wait, I'm sorry. It's Ben and B's fault. It's not Pete's fault.
My dad said the dog was a hero here because the dog knew the scene was going nowhere and it was poorly written and the scene needed to end.
Good job, dog. Well done. That dog, paid actor.
Paid actor. By the way, none of this happens in the Much Ado About Nothing play.
Oh yeah, guys, we have completely abandoned trying to even tell you what happens in Much Ado About Nothing.
So in Much Ado,
nowhere the same.
The wedding day is like in the middle of the play, and there's like another hour after. And like Claudio is supposed to be portrayed by Hero. Margaret, dressed as Hero, fakes a relationship with another man. Claudio thinks he's been cheated on. And then there's this huge thing where he like breaks up with her at the wedding, and then like the men fight, and it's great. And at the end, Claudio is like remorseful, and he shows that he truly loves Hero for who she is, and Hero shows that she's truly faithful. And it's this moment of like understanding and them coming to understanding, and it's really a beautiful moment. That is nowhere in this movie.
The beautiful moment or the understanding?
The understanding.
Okay.
Yeah, so then we cut to later, because it's still the day of the wedding, and the dads are like smoking pot on the balcony. And I was like, all right, cool. I mean, usually it's cigars, but I guess I'll take pot for 500.
Hey, you know what? It was cheaper to get the pot there.
Yeah. So now the wedding couple is fighting, like they're gonna break it off, and Ben overhears it. So does B, and they're like, we have to fix everything.
Ben overhears it and tells B, "There's one more thing we gotta fake, and it's being nice to each other during this wedding. We can't let this be our fault."
Yeah. So Ben and B go to apologize, and they try to fix everything, and then we get another Shakespeare quote said by Haley in the wedding. So much of my heart that none is left to protest. Now, this is a quote that Hero says in Much Ado About Nothing. And she's like, oh, I made it up myself. At this point, I want to smack the writer. How dare you? How dare you have people in your movie that you based off Much Ado About Nothing say that they've made up lines that are from the Shakespeare play Much Ado About Nothing? You could have just said Shakespeare wrote it. Oh my gosh, are you that dumb and stupid? How many times Shakespeare lines were said in this movie? It's a travesty. It is a tragic travesty. You should never write anything in Hollywood again. You are fired. And Ankit is losing himself. Because this is the part that really pissed me off. I wanted to turn off the movie right here. Because this was biggest bosom I've ever seen in my life. How dare you? No, really, how dare you? Whose bright idea was it? Go, oh yeah, let's do a modern telling Much Ado About Nothing. Let's steal none of the plot except for this little bit of the A plot. Oh, we'll call it an adaptation, but then also let's say some lines because we're clever. And then whenever we do a line, our characters had made them up because they're that amazing. Shut up.
Cool. I don't really have much to say. I was just enjoying your rant. It was a fun rant.
Thank you. That felt good.
You doing okay, buddy?
Yeah. Will Gluick, you could just go away. Just don't come back to Hollywood, please. Never do another film.
Okay. So obviously, now that you have said that, while you were doing this, I went over to look at what he's known for.
Oh no.
Yeah. You're about to be kind of sad. What do you want to know first? His directing credits or his writing credits?
Directing.
All right. So as a director, some of the things that he has done: Peter Rabbit 2 and Peter Rabbit 1.
I haven't seen those.
I enjoyed Peter Rabbit 1. I haven't seen Peter Rabbit 2.
Oh.
He directed Annie 2014.
I heard that was terrible.
Yeah, it has a 5.4. He also directed one episode of the Michael J. Fox show.
Okay, that failed.
Yeah, he directed Friends with Benefits.
Was that the one with Mila Kunis, or is that the one with Ashton Kutcher?
That's the one with Mila Kunis and Justin Timberlake.
So that's the bad one. The good one is the one with, I think
that's No Strings Attached, I think.
I think the other one's better. Some people say, I think it's like, I know it's weird because they're both a couple, Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher. I know that one of them is better than the other.
Okay.
He directed No Strings Attached. No surprise there.
Yeah, and Easy A.
Oh, I like that one though. That's sad. I like that film.
And Fired Up.
I don't know what Fired Up is. All right.
It is a 2009 film that the two most popular guys in high school decide to ditch football camp for cheerleader camp for the girls and for the glory.
So it's a worse plot than Superbad. Got it.
It was also written by him.
I think I'd rather go watch Superbad.
Okay. His writing credits include the stuff that I have told you so far. And he also wrote for the Loop TV series, The Fighting Fitzgeralds, Gary and Mike, Working, some other TV series that he's worked on as a writer. There are things that he has done that you have enjoyed.
That's fine. This was terrible. So then we cut to the rest of the wedding. I guess we'll continue. By the way, none of this has anything to do with Much Ado About Nothing.
At this point, ladies and gentlemen, just assume that we are no longer even looking at how it adapts because there is no connection.
Bo was playing the cello. I was like, all right, cool, go for it, Bo.
Secret talent.
And now it's party time. And I was like, yeah, we're getting to the end, hopefully. I think this is when my dad quit. So this is when my dad left the room.
Oh, this is when your dad left the room? He didn't get to see
like,
the cheesy, cute ending?
He was like, this is terrible writing, I'm leaving. He couldn't watch it anymore.
He didn't see the cheesy, cute ending?
So Margaret makes her move on Ben at the party. Whoa. And,
Ben pulls away, but
Margaret tries to kiss him, and Margaret kisses him, and Ben pulls away. Then B, shows up. She sees it. She's so sad. And the wives come over like, oh, we should go on a walk with you. And the one wife is like, this is our day. We should stay at the wedding. I was like, yeah. Also, let B go. And so they're like, B, you can go. And so B leaves to go cry somewhere.
To go people watching.
Yeah. Ben says no to Margaret so he can run away to B, but he doesn't run away to B, he just kind of stays at the party.
Yeah, he doesn't actively go look for her.
Yeah. Then we cut to B crying in a car, and then they try to play the overhearing trick again, and I'm like, so you literally took the one plot point from Much Ado About Nothing, the one scene, and just tried to redo it again. Yep. That's your adaptation. The one.
But Ben calls them out this time.
Yeah, but I just want to point out that it happens. Okay. The overhearing scene in Much Ado About Nothing happens in Act 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It is 2 scenes in Act 2.
Mm-hmm.
No, in Act 3. Sorry. End of Act 2.
Okay.
Start of Act 3. 2 scenes.
Lovely.
There's 5 acts in Much Ado About Nothing. There's so much more content and plot there that they did not even touch.
No. I don't know what you're talking about. There's none.
So, finally, the mom comes over, and she's like, why don't you just go run after her? And he's like,
yeah, she uses
I didn't even
brain.
think about that, because she's the smartest person there. And he's like, I'm 29. And she's like, no one is 29. I'm like, I'm 29.
You're like, I am in fact 29.
I am actually 29. So
Glen Powell
he steals
is not
Jonathan's
29.
Yeah, I know that. That's probably the joke. He then steals Jonathan's coffee. So another thing he steals from Jonathan. And then jumps off the cliff to find her. And I was like, wow. Okay. Because he thinks it's the fastest way to find her. And he gets rescued by another helicopter. And he says, take me to the opera house. I know where she is. So he shows up at the opera house and he's like, he flew for her. He jumped off a cliff and flew in an helicopter for her. And he's like, I love you. And they apologize and they kiss.
Can I just point out that, like, while he's working on getting there, she's at the opera house, right? Apparently, today is the only day at the opera house that people are allowed to propose and be in love. Because every single person at this opera house is either in love or being proposed to. I feel so sorry for the single person that went there just to enjoy the opera house by themselves, and they're just surrounded by this love. And it's just
I wonder what opera was playing in the opera house during this scene.
I don't know.
La Traviata, maybe. La Boheme.
Sure.
So they say they love each other. Yay, yada, yada, yada. They kiss. Yay. Cut back to them kissing at the wedding in front of everyone.
Yay.
And then they start playing the song that is his song. The song that comes.
And this is where I judge Sydney Sweeny for her singing skills.
And they all start to sing the song. Not just Sydney Sweeny and Powell, but everyone. The entire
cast.
Company starts singing this song. And literally, I will never listen to this song again. This movie has killed this song for me. Good job, Sydney Sweeny and the cast of Anybody But You. You have killed the song. This was the most terrible choice of an ending. I literally just did not want to watch this anymore. I wanted to turn it off, but I had to finish it to the credits. So, and I said, oh my God, this is terrible. None of them can be in a musical. Stay away from Broadway, please. But then they end up in a ballpark with a Much Ado About Nothing sign behind them. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so clever. You did an adaptation of Much Ado About Nothing and you didn't tell anyone.
It's an adaptation?
Yeah, that's right. And then we cut to the koala and Pete again. And this is the only thing I laughed at in the entire film, was the koala had captions that said, "Leave me alone." And I was like, this is me. I'm the koala. And I was, you know what it made me miss? It made me miss the Sunny captions in Series of Fortunate Events, which are just as hilarious as that koala's caption.
Oh, they are fantastic captions.
So Johnny also ends up with Margaret, which made me think he was Borachio, because Borachio ends up with Margaret in the play.
Yes.
And then you also learn that the whole fight that they were going to break up the marriage couple was a fake fight, and they did it all to make Ben and B feel bad. And it's like, oh, well, that was the most believable acting in the entire film. But like, it's when you guys are like, okay.
That's how the overhearing trope works well.
Oh, there you go. Also, it makes us as an audience go, oh my god, they're going to break up. And then you flip it on us. Although I didn't care anymore because, they're married.
I didn't care about them from the beginning, but like, all right, go. And
then that's the end of the movie. They're in love, and they are going to live together, and obviously probably get married, and that is the end of Anyone But You, an adaptation of William Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing.
Cool. It was a movie.
It was. Now, Ankit, what would you rate this film? As a film, not an adaptation.
5.
I give it a 4.
Okay, that's fair. Only reason I gave it a 5 was that it was still a movie that I got to watch with my family, which doesn't happen very often, and that gained it a
sentimental.
Point. Yeah. That gained it a point.
My dad left in the middle of it, so towards the end
my mom was like, I'm exhausted, and my sister and I were sitting there, and we were like, you can go sleep, and she's like, no, I've watched this far, I should finish it. And so that gained it a point.
What did your sister say about this movie?
Oh, she didn't like it either.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
She was like, I'm so glad I watched this with you, because otherwise I probably wouldn't have watched it.
Now, what would you rate it at? What would you rate Much Ado About Nothing, the play?
In what sense?
Like if you watched it, like as a viewer watching.
As a viewer, I would probably say it is like a 7.5 for me. I enjoy it. I don't love it. It's perfectly fine.
It's a 9 for me. It's one of my favorite Shakespeare's. I think when it's done well, it's outstanding.
Yeah, I think I've only seen it done 3 times. And it's been done twice well, but the first time I watched it, I didn't fully grasp what was going on. I only really grasped what was happening the second and third time.
Did you get to see the one at the Globe? Because I heard the one at the Globe was really, really good.
That was the second time I watched it.
Yeah. I heard
that was the one where I finally understood what was happening.
You know what's crazy? That one was directed by Sean Holmes, who I don't like as a director. Sean Holmes has his style of Shakespeare. I just don't enjoy his style of Shakespeare.
Sure. Well, sometimes you do, obviously.
Yeah. What would you say?
If I'm reading it, I would say that it is probably like a 2.
Well, because you don't like reading Shakespeare. What would you say is your as an adaptation? What would you rate this as an adaptation?
Can I ask you to give your answer first? Because I'm curious.
-5.
Nope.
On a scale of 0 to 10, I would give this a 0.5 because it had 0.5 of the plot of Much Ado About Nothing.
Cool. I'm gonna give them a 1.
Yeah. I couldn't give a 1. That's too high.
Here's my reasoning for a 1. You have more than 3 names that we can easily link to some of the characters from Much Ado About Nothing.
Okay.
And You got that there needs to be a wedding, and you got the right two people getting married.
True.
And you did get the right two people ending in a relationship together with Ben and B.
Now, there have been other modern adaptations of Shakespeare, and, this is a conversation Ankit and I will probably have, because we probably will do another Shakespeare adaptation at some point, again, on this podcast.
Probably.
Wink, wink. There are many.
Wink, wink. What have we talked about behind the scenes that I don't know about?
Romeo and Juliet, the Leonardo DiCaprio version.
Oh, that exists. Yeah. DiCaprio is not the same as Neil Patrick Harris, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, Baz Luhrmann's version. So there are many different. I think we could talk about this now. I mean, there are many different ways to come at an adaptation of Shakespeare when it comes to modern. I think I've only seen three modern adaptations of Shakespeare. Now, Taming of the Taming of the Shrew has a modern adaptation as well. That I think I think it's How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is Taming of the Shrew. Actually, I'm probably wrong. 1 second. Taming of the Shrew. Talk to the people, okay.
Talk to the people. Hello, people. Well, I mean, okay, I know in terms of adaptations, we have the soccer one with Channing Tatum.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, I was right.
She's a man.
10 Things I Hate About You is a modern adaptation of Taming the Shrew. Or Kiss Me Kate is also a modern adaptation. It's not a modern one.
I've seen 10 Things, and I enjoyed 10 Things.
So 10 Things I Hate About You is a modern adaptation of Taming the Shrew. The soccer one, which has Amanda Bynes. She's the Man is a modern adaptation of Twelfth Night.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one way where you can have an adaptation of Shakespeare that is fun and actually follows the plot line really well, and I think it does a really good job. And I believe the high school is called Illyria in the soccer movie. It's been a long time since I've seen Amanda Bynes.
It's been a very long time since I've seen either of those movies.
I think they understood the assignment of the A plot, B plot, C plot that's in the play that you kind of have to work on. Where or you could do it as Baz Luhrmann did, where you take Romeo and Juliet and you put it in a modern setting, but you use all of Shakespearean dialogue.
Yeah.
And that was interesting as well. You just modernized the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was just very much of a component of the script itself would work. I think the script itself works as a script for those who like rom-coms, for those who really love that kind of style of movie. If they just didn't claim it was a modern adaptation of Much Ado About Nothing, they literally could have just kept it all the same, kept that under wraps as a hidden gem, as we loosely based on Much Ado About Nothing. And I think
you throw
your
it in
argument
the
at the beginning would have been fine, Ankit, because you tried to argue against me about it, but then when I really hammered home, they claim it's a
claim. I didn't know that they claimed it as a hard adaptation, and it's that's where it fails. But if it's we loosely took the same characters and loosely took the plot of what was going on, and then here's a fun new rom-com loosely based on Much Ado. So there will be things tying to Much Ado, but we're not trying to be Much Ado. We are not doing that. We're just we're pulling from that to then create great.
I mean, there's many adaptations I think make the misstep, especially when they're adapting. As we could talk about Ender's Game. Oh my god, the ending.
Oh, we did.
Is tragic. The thing is, a lot of the time when people are adapting, they seem to miss what is the point of the script, what is the point of the story. And to me, Much Ado is about love, but the most important word for me in Much Ado About Nothing is forgiveness. Hero forgives Claudio for what he does to her. Claudio forgives himself for his digression, and they end up marrying each other at the end, a very strong relationship. Beatrice and Benedick forgive each other for all the past digressions and end up together. Borachio asks for forgiveness for his plot with Don John against everyone, almost causing Hero's death. And they give Borachio forgiveness, and he actually ends up marrying Margaret. So there's a lot of forgiveness is like one of the main components of the text. I think that like having forgiveness, giving forgiveness, being able to forgive. It's really interesting because Leonardo as a character, Aiden Burgess, who is an amazing actor, shout out to him. He also has a podcast. But Aiden, I worked with him in London, and he played Leonardo, and the second half of him, he shared the role with who did he share the role with? I'm trying to remember. I feel so bad. I'm forgetting. Oh, he's shared the role with Seb. But both of them played the role really interesting. Just
different.
Aiden had the scene where he had to really forgive everyone, and it's such a hard moment in Leonardo's character arc of forgiveness. I think it's the hardest thing to do is to learn to forgive. So I think Shakespeare writes a play, and you can find one word in every play he writes where that's the main theme in one word. It's quite that's what makes his play so universal to me.
They're very good plays. There's a reason he's still relevant so many years later.
Like, Romeo and Juliet, if I had to go give one word for that one, not forgiveness, not love, but it's there's a word, but I don't remember what the word is.
I got a phrase, and it's one night stand goes wrong.
One night stand goes. I mean, that's great. I like that. I think it's more for me the power of Romeo and Juliet is what happens after they die.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Totally. Oh, united. That's the word. So like,
there we go. Yeah.
There's this idea, and I think they totally missed the point, because this movie could have been a really good movie about teaching forgiveness, about how to forgive people, about when people make mistakes, how people make mistakes. I remember when working with the Benedick and Beatrices when I did Much Ado, one of the few things that we worked on was we tried to create an actual timeline of events leading up to Benedick leaving for war and then him coming back, and what happened between him and Beatrice before war. So we created this whole 72 hours thing where and it was very well written, very well done. The actors who played them, it gave them something to play off of, gave them something to feel when they first walked in the play.
Yeah.
And I think it's quite fascinating because they decided to do that part. I think it could have really worked, because that's a part you don't see in the play, is they're showing the Benedict and Beatrice before.
But then they lost all semblance of the plot.
Yeah, the love rhombus with the handle is probably the worst decision they made, where it was like, you actually literally had the plot halfway through the film. You could have just continued. But
No. We need a love rhombus with the panhandle.
Yeah, love rhombus. Yeah. Also, Bo doesn't end up with anyone. Johnny randomly, now is the love rhombus is completed because Johnny ends up with Margaret, and
that's why I said the love rhombus can still work, but you got to have the panhandle because Bo and the ocean are not connected.
Yeah, well, Bo and his surfboard get to go have fun in the ocean for the rest of his life.
They're on the panhandle.
Yeah. So that's the end of Anyone But You. That is our
woo. Let us know what you think. Do you enjoy this film? Do you hate this film? Did you think that it was? Did you think for some reason this was a good adaptation? Were we too harsh? I don't feel like we were.
So it's on Netflix. Feel free to watch it. We hope you enjoyed this week. Next week we are tackling a classic. We are going down into the desert. We are going to go dig some holes.
And Holes by Louis Sachar. Oh, yeah. I'm so excited. I love that story.
So we are going to do the Shia LaBeouf movie. I believe it's the only movie that exists.
I think it's the only one. They don't need to make another one. If they try to remake that one, I will riot.
So many remakes. Oh, by the way, people. Also, coming up, Disney Plus side, Ankit, just so you know, adaptation-wise, just on is the second season of Percy Jackson. They just did a trailer for Sea of Monsters.
When is it coming out?
I don't know. They just did a trailer. His voice got deeper, though.
Well, yeah. Also, I really hope that they just renew season 3 through 5 at the same time so they can just film it all before they get too old.
Well, that's the thing. If you go to our Patreon, you can watch our talks about the Percy Jackson TV show. Ankit and I had a lot of thoughts about it, and a lot of people do. It is not that well respected by a lot of people. But we're gonna end anybody but you here, and Ankit and I might talk for another hour about Percy Jackson. But
we'll find out. If we do, we'll record it and toss it up on the Patreon. But thank you all very much for listening, and we will see you next week for Holes by Louis Sechar. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Flip the Scripts. Flip the Scripts is created, hosted, and produced by Ankit Madeira and Stephen Nyman. Our editor is Ant Cervellin. The art is by Shaktija Madeira, and the music is by Sebastian Hollich. If you would like to support the show, you can do so by heading over to patreon.com/co-op-forge. So that's patreon.com/co_opforge. Sign up for any of the tiers and you get access to various types of bonus content. And it really does help us out a lot of not being in the red while making these episodes for you all. If you want to help out the show in a non-monetary way, that is great as well. You can talk about us on social media. Follow us on social media at coopforge, co_opforge on all the various social media platforms. And you can also follow the show directly, Flip the Scripts Pod on Instagram. Be sure to talk about us on social media. It helps us out a lot. Thank you to anyone who has done this already or will do this in the future. And last but not least, if you still want to help out the show, word of mouth is a great way to help support the show and grow the show. Tell a friend, tell a family member about the show. There are two guys and they read books and then they go in, they watch the movie, they watch the TV show, they figure out, is it a faithful adaptation or is it just a fun movie but maybe not a faithful adaptation? That's also a possibility. If it's a show that you think they might enjoy, please do recommend it to them. It helps us out a lot. But we are just really thankful that you have tuned in for this episode of Flip the Scripts, and we hope you join us next week for even more tomfoolery. And until then, we'll see y'all later. Bye.